It's that time of year again. Spooky month, yeah. Wall-E and Eve, R2-D2 and C-3PO, Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. These three examples are popular robot plus robot relationships that go a long way with connecting what is seen to be a physically heartless and unliving machine into something that feels real and something the audience can connect with, which makes a human side of the robots feel alive. Iron Giant and Hogarth, Baymax and Hero, Terminator and Sarah Connor. These three examples are popular robot plus human relationships, which sees a human interacting with a robot to make the humanity come out, which makes the robot feel like an actual person as time goes on. These relationships with the robot are perfect character development when the robot has a reason and a way to relate to someone, whether that's the robot just liking someone or trying to relate and find out who that person actually is. The possibilities are endless when it comes to that concept, and in all honesty, it's been done plenty of times that you can probably think of more than just three examples that aren't the ones I just did. Now, how does this relate to The Wild Robot? Well, if you haven't pieced it together, the movie is the worst thing ever made, just like the rest of this. 8-minute because ad revenue video essay. All of these video essays I watch every single day. I don't understand these stupid, meaningless, superfluous... I hate them! I hate these stupid video essays! Yo, Kirst, what are you doing? This is my channel, and don't you dare finish that reference. Don't scare away the people. Just because everyone likes a movie doesn't mean you have to go on your oh, I'm so edgy and unique and hate everything arc. Look, I'm sorry for what Kirst said at the end, but I think he was onto something there. Robot relationships in media aren't necessarily the most unique thing anymore, because the trope is actually becoming, well, a trope in movies, but after seeing The Wild Robot for myself, I think that if done right, these relations can actually deeply impact the way a movie plays out, and that's a big way of how The Wild Robot as a movie, not the character just yet, tackles sympathy, and how it uses it to its advantage to contrast the shocking off-screen but deeply sad death to how the movie leaves you off to a robot that just wants to help. Now, before I get into this, and I should probably let you know what this shocking event actually is, and before Kirst edits this out because of how I kicked him off a second ago, the event is that you aren't actually subscribed, so make sure to like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts by hitting the like button and commenting, because it directly goes into helping more people find this channel. I think we're all good now, so let's talk about what this event actually is. When Roz is out in the wild trying to find out who brought her here, she accidentally gets knocked over, and because of her build and how strong she is, knocks down trees in her path, and sadly inside the tree was a nest with unborn ducks and the dead mother or father of the eggs. The interesting thing about this scene is how subtle it is. Now, I don't think I have a lot of footage of what happens, but I can always describe it. Roz looks under a tree and finds a wing, which she pulls out, in which that wing is completely lifeless, which is implying that the bird was crushed under the tree due to Roz's persistence on finding out who called her here. The moment is indeed shocking when you fully understand and have the knowledge of how sudden and devastating the scene is, but leads us right into the actual plot of the movie. I think it would be strange to say that this scene of Roz accidentally killing this bird wasn't an immediate turnoff of how the audience views Roz, especially when she doesn't even seem bothered or distraught by what she did. This scene builds empathy towards the bird, which is similar to sympathy but still a different emotion, but is a smart way of tricking the audience into looking at Roz as a villain at the expense of something innocent. Now, this leads me into the sympathetic side of Roz, as she grows to become more human by how she personifies the animals in the forest. She learns what they do and how they act and always tries to show kindness because that's what she was programmed to do to everybody. But only until she starts raising Brightburn, sorry, did I say Brightburn? I meant Bright Bill, but in honesty, I see some similarities. Now, I hate to pause it here because we're about to get into the interesting stuff. I would like to take a break really quickly because sadly yapping for however long this guy does for is a one-way ticket for me getting involved and shortening what he was going to say without you having to miss anything, because turns out he just kept repeating himself over and over. By the way, I'm an unnamed character that you can refer to as the editor, who is in charge of editing all Enchanted's videos, who may or may not just be Enchanted himself realizing this video is really boring and needs to spice it up a bit. Look, Bright Bill helps Roz come out of her shell. Get it? Whatever. After she is tasked with raising him to eat, swim, and fly. Now, the art of sympathy comes into play with how Bright Bill, in contrast to the beginning of the video, is not a human and is able to leave as much of an impact on Roz as Roz leaves on Bright Bill. Sympathy is built when Roz becomes more human as we realize she has a deep and honest regret for never telling Bright Bill what happened to his actual parents. If you didn't expect to go into this movie theater and not cry, then I don't know what you were expecting when it came to this, because this scene was pretty brutal. Yada yada yada, let me bring you back to where Enchanted is now after this sneak ad attack. Wait, why are you still here? Anyways, I was really interrupted because apparently I got too boring for some people's taste. So, here, take some gameplay that switches every 10 seconds to ease the pain of having to relax and get some free writing advice. The wild robot creates the perfect amount of sympathy to help you connect with Roz and creates a perfect protagonist. The tough decisions that she faces, believe it or not, reflect on actually parenthood and how that works on the point of view of the mother and how life feels after having kids. This is something I can relate to because kidnapping is a hard job when the ones you may or may not have taken are really stubborn and constantly cry to be let out and whatnot. You know what I mean, fellow parents? Maybe the parents who adopt understand what it's like, but anyways, not the point. The connect between Bright Bill and Roz saves Roz's characterization as a killer when she can truly create a life that wouldn't have been possible without her, even though she unfairly took the opportunities of more. But she understood her mistakes and had to wing the whole parent thing and make it up along the way after severe occurrences, which if never happened then would lead Bright Bill onto a whole different path. Sympathy is a saving grace when it comes to a redemption of a character that started off bad, because when done correctly, nobody can resist a good comeback story. I mean, nobody. As long as you create realistic sympathy that holds hand in hand with actual and realistic character growth. This is the secret to why the wild robot works in fixing Roz's wrongdoings by making up for them and not excusing them, to be really connecting with the feeling of humanity and how we all make mistakes that goes with the beauty and unclear nature of parenthood. And it's even surprising that they were able to turn a robot into an actual breathing character that actually seemed like it, at least. I also just wanted to tie in the whole beginning of this video into this chat. So a bird, not being a human, was able to make Roz into more of a person, as she has to learn and grow alongside with Bright Bill equally, because they both have their lacks and were perfectly able to learn from each other. This movie is just beautiful. You do not have an argument to say that this movie is not beautiful. Trust me. Now, if you excuse me, my next video is going to be my biggest and most ambitious and most unique. I think I said ambitious twice. So I need to do some planning before I release it. Tell me in the comments if you've made it to the end by saying, thank you for adding gameplay so I don't get bored. Speaking of which, I abandoned my entire promise in the matter of seconds, all because editing would be made easier. Anyways, thank you everybody for watching. I'm Enchanted. Bye.